It's young people, it's old people, it's rich, it's poor.
Hello and welcome to this special show devoted to Iran, where we'll be looking behind the headlines, behind the protests, to what young Iranians think about their nation, their laws, and the West. We're calling this hour Iran Underneath the Headlines. Now, on June 12th, incumbent hardline President Ahmadinejad beat his closest rival, reform candidate Mir Hossein Mousavi, by roughly a 66 to 33% margin, or so the government claimed. Many pre-election polls show the race to be much closer. Now, Mousavi and many others immediately cried fraud and hit the streets in protest. Tens, even hundreds of thousands marched, voicing their skepticism over the election's legitimacy. Angry crowds in Tehran broke into stores, tore down signs, and lit fires. In response, Ahmadinejad backers also took to the streets to voice their support for their leader. 3 days after the presidential election, Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, agreed to an investigation and announced limited recounts in certain districts. Mousavi supporters took to the streets again in the largest protest since the 1979 revolution. Now, the government filled the streets with various military and security personnel, many of whom used extreme force on the protesters. At least 8 people were killed and thousands of others were arrested. But still, the people kept on marching. Now, what long-lasting effects or impacts any of this might have in Iran remains to be seen, but the spark of change has been lit, and those who lit it don't seem willing to let it go out, at least not without a fight. When we come back, we will take a look at young people in Iran who've played a large part in the recent demonstrations. So, Iran is a nation of young people. Roughly 60% of the population is under 30, and the median age in the country being just 26. That means most Iranians weren't even alive when the mullahs seized power in the 1979 revolution and set up a conservative Islamic theocracy. And as you might expect, the young generation's ideas of what is and what is not culturally acceptable don't always jibe with the establishments. So part of the demonstrations have been a fight for what many young Iranians see as their personal freedoms, as well as a demand that their voices be both counted and heard. So who are these young people, and what do they think, and what do they want, and what do they do? A while back, current contributor Yasmin Vasugian spent some time with some young Iranians, and what she discovered will definitely surprise you.
My name is Yasmin Vasugian, and I'm Iranian American. A few months ago, I set out to shoot a documentary from the perspective of young people in Iran. Despite strict Islamic laws that are governing Iranian society, young people basically find ways to do what they want to do. They just have to do it in hiding.
What's your name?
Asal.
Asal.
Means honey.
What's your name?
Parinas.
Where are we going?
Party.
To a party?
Yeah.
What kind of party are we going to?
Ex party.
Oh, what an X party? Why is it an X party?
Do you know ecstasy?
Is that the police?
Yeah.
Or do you get scared when you go? یعنی میترسی؟
اصلا مستقیم. خیلی میترسی.
What brings you here tonight?
It's underground party, my friend. So basically I'm here for him.
Why is it underground?
Basically alcohol and parties in Iran are illegal. So there's there's no club that we can go and have fun. So every once in a while we go to each other's house and have a house party.
Why are the lights turned off? I can't see anything.
Just hear that the police is outside. So they said let's turn off the lights for a couple of minutes until they go on their way.
The biggest surprises of the party were definitely the ecstasy, the grain alcohol, and the scantily clad women. I could have been at a party in Brooklyn.
Do you have a girlfriend?
In Iran, not at the moment being, but yeah, I've been around once. So.
You've been around.
I've been around.
Premarital sex and abortion in Iran are illegal, and dating is not even allowed. But young people are finding ways to express themselves sexually without anybody else finding out. So I traveled to a couple of universities in Iran and found some students that were willing to speak out about sexuality, something that they would rarely do publicly.
پهلوان هفت
از این موضوع هم خیلی حرف میزنم با ایرانی‌ها، برای اینکه این چیزا هم خیلی مشکله برای دخترای ایران اگه میخوام دوست پسر داشته باشن این چیزا. Do you have a girlfriend?
Yes, of course.
And of course.
Why not? I think it's a need. We should have it to complete our personality.
You have girlfriend and you can find safe places to have with your girlfriend.
But you have to hide.
Yes, you have to hide.
Are you gonna marry your girlfriend?
No.
Maybe or not.
دوست پسر باد نامزد نکنه چیز میشی؟ عصبانی میشی؟ خیلی. Isn't she second hand if you marry someone who's had sex?
It's a very difficult question. It's a very difficult question. It has many discussions.
So let's discuss it.
You can't find any man to marry with it second hand.
You can't?
Talking about sex is on one side of the spectrum, but talking about homosexuality is on a whole different level.
Do people get married that are gay here?
No, we don't have it here.
You don't have gay people here?
No.
Not one gay person.
But they we have, but they are so what?
Few?
So few that
So do you think it's very few or it's just hidden?
Yes. Hidden.
it's few and hidden.
چه چیزا دارن؟ یعنی نه خانوما که خانوما دوست دارن پسر که یعنی گی. نه؟ تو دانشگاه من دارن؟
میشنویم بعضی موقع که هست ولی من تا حالا برخورد نکردم.
Would you be friends with someone who's gay?
When you can have a normal sex, why you go to have gay friend?
Strict laws, stigmas, and taboos are all a part of Iranian society. But with most people that I met, being young in Iran is to defy these rules.
It's amazing how similar young Iranians are to young Americans or to just young people all over the world, right? I think that by seeing this piece, you start to understand why young Iranians have been a huge part of these demonstrations. There really seems to be a clear divide between what many of them want and what their government has imposed on them. Well, we'll be back in just a minute with a piece about Ahmadinejad, which is one of the most difficult names to say in international politics for sure, and what young Iranians think of him. And welcome back to our show, Iran Underneath the Headlines. Mahmoud Ahmadinejad was first elected president in 2005. He's a conservative hardliner who has cracked down on many of the small cultural freedoms young Iranians